Hello, you beautiful soul. You are so welcome. I am Sandra Ray. I'm an author, healer, and spiritual teacher and a speaker. And you are so welcome to another new episode of the Fiercely Spiritual Podcast. It's a new week, a new episode, a new topic, and we're going to get straight into it. Actually, I wanted to mention just before we get into it, it's funny because I like to dive straight into the topics. I like to get into it, and a lot of these episodes are quite short, and I've been keeping them that way intentionally. I've been asking for feedback from a lot of you, particularly the members of my Fiercely Spiritual family, and you've been saying you love some of the interviews and longer episodes, but sometimes the short bite-sized ones are exactly what you need. So we've been doing a few of those recently. What I wanted to mention was I have been listening to some podcasts myself. I have a few podcasts that I'm subscribed to, and I noticed that some of them, they talk and talk and talk, and it's about 7 minutes or 10 minutes or sometimes 15 minutes before they actually get into the topic, the discussion that they're there to talk about. They talk about random other things, but I don't want to do that to you. So that's why I want to get straight into it, because I value your time and I want to keep this episode short. So we are talking about, have you figured it out yet? So you might be saying, have I figured what out yet? What do I need to figure out? Is there something I'm missing? Don't worry. What I want to ask is, have you figured out how to be the masterful creator of your life and how to experience the life that you want? Now, it's kind of a rhetorical question, so don't worry if you haven't, because none of us have. We're all learning, we're all growing, we're all at different stages on our path. Some of us are a few steps ahead, some of us are a few steps behind, but we're all equal in that we're all learning together. So don't worry, wherever you are on your path, if you haven't figured it out, that's okay. But what I want to do is bring you one step closer to figuring out how to be the masterful creator of your life, how to experience the life that you want, and to take those little steps. It doesn't have to be a giant leap. It can be in some cases, but just normally it's just taking those baby steps towards living the life that you desire, the life that you dream of. So I know we have talked about this topic before, and I'm going to go back into it a little bit, because I think that we learn through repetition. We learn through hearing the same thing said over and over, maybe in different ways. And this is something that was coming up for me, and I felt that it needed to be heard again. And that's usually how I plan these episodes. Well, I like to say plan, but I know I was listening to a podcast where they were saying they had the episodes planned out for the next 6 months. I was thinking, wow, 6 months. I get like a download of inspiration, probably a few days before the podcast, and then I'll talk about that. I don't plan it because I'm open to whatever the universe wants to bring in, and the universe always answers. There's always something that comes up a day or two before the recording of the podcast, and I just love the divine synchronicity of it. So what I want to talk about is when you start designing your life, creating your life, becoming the co-creator with the universe, knowledge alone isn't enough. And we've mentioned this before. You have to learn about the tools, the processes, the practices, and then you have to live it, you have to practice it, and you have to experience it each day. So what happens is, and I know I've certainly done this myself, is we fall prey to spiritual entertainment, where we read a book, and it could be on the topic of meditation, it could be on personal development, it could be whatever it is. And I know I personally devour those books. I could just read spiritual books, personal development books, psychology books, all of those things. I devour them. But what I used to do is I would devour it. I would read all about it. I'd think, wow, that's amazing. And then I'd go on to the next book and I'd read that. I'd devour it and I think, wow, that's amazing. That sounds like it's something that I want to do. But I just keep reading and reading and reading, and I wouldn't implement the practices into my life. And then, when we're not implementing practices, we wonder, well, why am I not experiencing change? I know all this stuff, I've read about all this stuff, but my life is still the same. But reading about it and applying it is totally different. Knowing it is different to understanding it through applying it in your life. And to be honest, most people don't have the discipline to become a master at anything. And I know that's going to trigger some people, and it's meant to, because it's true. Most of us dabble, and I certainly did that for a long time. And we don't apply the teachings in our lives. It seems too hard. We get bored. We don't see results straight away, so we give up. And to be honest, I'm still learning how to do this. And I am not saying that I'm a master by any means, but I have learned to apply the teachings, and from that start seeing results. And when you start applying what you're learning, that's when you'll start to see the results in your life. So reading books is wonderful. Getting the knowledge is the first step, and it's absolutely, crucial. You have to know what to do before you can do it. But the next step is implementing it. It's applying it in your life. You can't expect your life to change if you are not implementing what you have learned. So the trick is to keep your thoughts clear, focused, and not contradicting what you're thinking about. So if it is that you want to have a new relationship in your life, if you keep your thoughts clear about what you want, focused on that new relationship, and not contradicting yourself, thinking, oh, I really want a new relationship, and the next one is, oh, but I can't have it because there's no nice guys out there, or I can't have it because of this, giving reasons why you can't have it, and not staying focused on what it is that you want. And we all do this, but it is a discipline to focus your thoughts. And that's where meditation comes in, and why it's so important. Meditation is like going to the gym for your body. It's the workout for your mind. And it's funny because a lot of people think of meditation as taking a break. And it is that. But we have to exercise taking a break from thoughts, because we really are not good at taking a break. It's all about going within and observing what's going on in there, because a lot of us are unconscious of the thoughts. And when we don't know what thoughts we're thinking, then our thoughts can't be clear, they can't be focused, and they certainly are not, well, they are contradicting. We can't have non-contradictory thoughts when we're not aware, because it's like all of these things are just popping up, and we're thinking one thought, and then we're thinking something contradictory, and then we're thinking another thing, and it's just all over the place, a mess. So the point is that when you start practicing meditation, that helps to focus your mind, to be aware of your thoughts, and to exercise that skill of observing what's going on in there. So the reason why most people don't give meditation enough time to see results from it is that we all want immediate wins. We all want that instant gratification. We think that I'll meditate once and that'll be it. I'm set. I don't have to do any more. Or you might go to a meditation course. It could be an 8-week course, and you'll think, great, I've done the 8-week course. Now my life's going to change. It doesn't work that way. It works through repetition. I know a study revealed that people who meditate for 5 minutes each day, consistently each day, have greater benefit than people who meditate once a week for 1 hour. So it's all about repetition. It doesn't have to be a long period of time. You get more benefit from meditating for 5 minutes every single day than if you meditate for 1 hour once a week. So that's really important. So it's consistency, it's repetition, it's staying focused. And that is the whole reason why I created my members group, the Fiercely Spiritual Family, because people were coming to me and they were saying, I've read up about this, and I've done the meditation course and I've done this, but I'm still not seeing results. And it's like whenever they stopped, they'd go to the 8-week meditation course, or they'd go to the weekend seminar, or they'd do the 1-day workshop. And then they might see results for maybe a few days afterwards, but then things would fall by the sidelines and they'd forget, and life would get in the way and things would get busy, and then they stop doing it. So I created, well, for a number of reasons. I wanted to firstly reach more people, because I even had a call the other day from somebody ringing about my meditation courses and saying, when's your next one? And they were asking me if I traveled to the place that they live in order to give the course. And I explained to them, actually, you know what? I used to give in-person courses. I haven't done one in a while because I'm finding that people are so spread out. They're so dispersed. And there's people from all over the world in my members group. And I couldn't possibly be everywhere. And I'm doing a disservice by going to physical locations and turning up. And for those few people who live there, and then having to go to another place, I'm doing a disservice to myself, firstly, but also to those people, because the moment I walk out of that room, it's like they have more questions and they have, no support. And I wanted to create an environment where if you have questions, you can ask me, even after you have experienced the video or the training or the masterclass. You can ask me questions afterwards. I want to create an environment where everybody can come together, no matter where you're living. You don't need to travel to where I am in order to learn from me. I wanted to create a place where everybody who comes together can interact with each other and learn from each other and support each other. And when you start doing that, when you have the consistency, when you have the ongoing support, when you keep learning, keep practicing, keep asking the questions, that's when you start seeing the results. That's when you start noticing the little changes in your life. When you don't give up, when you don't do it for a weekend or just read a book and not implement it or whatever it is, because I know I certainly have been so guilty of doing that. And one of the members commented that it's like having your own personal spiritual mentor. And I just love that so much, because that is totally my intention, to be like your own personal spiritual mentor and to be there for you at all times, and to have a space where we can all chat and interact, and to be in that space where we're all learning and growing together. And it doesn't have to be an 8-week course. It doesn't have to be one weekend, an intense workshop. It can be an ongoing process. And there's always new levels. There's always new learning. And I know I certainly am learning new things every single day. And that's why I keep learning. I keep reading. I keep doing the work. I keep practicing. I keep implementing. And it never stops. And for me, that's the joy of it, because I love it so much. I thrive on the learning process. I thrive on implementing and seeing the results of my life and then sharing that with other people. So knowledge alone isn't enough. It's not enough to read the book. It's not enough to attend the course. It's not enough to have the knowledge and do nothing about it. You have to implement it. And that's when you start experiencing the results. So what I want to ask you is, what is it that you can do? What one small thing can you start doing today to bring about the changes that you desire in your life? What's one small thing that you can start actually doing? Maybe it's something you've already learned. Maybe it's something you've been putting off, you've been procrastinating on. And it doesn't matter what it is that you want. It could be better health. It could be a dream job. It could be a new relationship. Whatever it is, make sure that you're focused, that you're clear, that you're consistent, and you're not contradicting yourself. And you know what? If you don't know what that one thing is that you can do today, if you're not clear about that and you don't know where to start, don't worry. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you with those steps, with creating the spiritual foundations, with putting in place the practices, the habits, the tools going forward that will allow you to be the masterful creator of your life and to actually experience the change that you desire, and not just dabble with the meditation and not just dabble with the visualizations or the journaling or whatever else it is. It's to start being consistent in your practice and seeing the results in your life, because that's what makes the difference. So I know that there's so much more we could talk about on this topic, and I can't fit everything into these podcasts, but I wanted to begin to plant the seed where you begin to realize, okay, I have to do something more. I have to take action. I can't just keep doing what I'm doing because that's going to create the same results that I've been getting. I have to do something new. And we've only touched the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to this. But that's why I think it's the beauty of the members group is that everything is in one place and you can go back to it over and over again. And you can go at your own pace and you don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to do it within a weekend or within 8 weeks. You can keep going back. You can keep learning from it and you can become the master. You can really dive into the topics that we discuss in there. And that's what it's all about. It's about taking a little bit of information, implementing it, going back, getting a new piece of information, implementing that, and taking those little steps and stacking the information, stacking the knowledge, stacking the practices. So then suddenly you have all these practices stacked and it's like it happened so easily. It was like effortless because you're just doing a little bit at a time. So I want you to value yourself enough to do this. Start committing to your practice. Start committing to change that you desire in your life. Start taking back your power because, to be honest, nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody is going to come along and wave a magic wand and say, here's your new life or here's what you desire. And that's something that I know, that you have to take back your power. You have to start implementing the things in your life to allow that to happen and to work with the universe and allow yourself to understand how to work with the universe. And if you need guidance along the way, that's what I'm here for. If you want to do it on your own, that is wonderful. I support whatever you want to do, whatever works for you. But I want to let you know that if you do need a little bit of extra guidance and support, that I have a knack for breaking things down and making complex things simple and easy to implement. So that's one thing that I do value about the information, the trainings, the classes that I put together, that it does simplify these topics. So if you feel drawn to join us at the moment, the doors to the Fiercely Spiritual family are open for a short time. We're taking new members on, and it would be my pleasure to have you join us and to experience the change you desire in your life. So if that's something that resonates with you, if that's something you'd like to experience, then come join us. You can go to the link, which I'll put in the show notes. It's sandraray.com/family, and you will get all the information there. And as always, if you have any questions, you can put comments below. I will respond to you. If you want to contact me directly, you can. And thank you once again for being here and for listening. And I value you. And go out there and start taking action and implementing what it is you need to do to start making those changes in your life that you desire. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.